Listen carefully because what I'm about to say might change the way you see your life forever. You've been waiting, praying, hoping, and still nothing is moving. Doors stay closed, plans fall apart. People walk away, and deep down you're asking, why is everything delayed? Why does it feel like I'm stuck? Everyone else is moving ahead, but what if I told you this delay is not denial? This delay is direction. See, we live in a world that glorifies speed, fast success, quick money, instant results. But God doesn't work on your timeline. He works on your transformation, because if he gives you everything too early, you won't have the strength to keep it. You're not being ignored. You're being prepared for a level. You're not ready to see yet, prepared for a responsibility you don't fully understand yet. And I know it hurts. I know it's frustrating to feel like you're doing everything right, but still standing still. But listen, every delay is building something inside you: patience, discipline, faith, strength. The things you can't see right now are the very things you'll need later. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long, start asking, what is this delay trying to teach me? Because one day, everything that feels slow right now will suddenly make sense. And when it does, you won't just be ready, you'll be unstoppable. Listen, there's a kind of pain that doesn't scream, it doesn't break things, it doesn't make noise. It just sits inside you quietly, day after day, while you watch life move forward without you, and nobody sees it, nobody understands it, because on the outside you look fine, you smile, you talk, you show up, but inside you're asking questions. You don't say out loud, why is my life not moving? Why does everything I try fall apart? Why does it feel like I'm always one step behind? And the hardest part is not the struggle itself, it's the waiting when you don't know what's coming, the waiting when nothing makes sense, the waiting when you feel forgotten. But let me tell you something, delays are not empty. They are full of preparation, full of pressure, full of purpose. See, most people think success is about speed, about how fast you can get there, how quickly things happen, how soon you win. But real growth, real strength, real transformation, it happens in the delay. Because delay forces you to face yourself. It forces you to sit in silence. It forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, your weaknesses. And that's something success can never teach you. Success rewards you, but delay builds you. There's a difference, a big difference, because if success comes too early, it destroys more people than it elevates. You've seen it. People who get everything they've wanted but don't know how to handle it, they lose it, they waste it, they break under it, not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't ready. And readiness does not come from comfort. It comes from struggle, it comes from patience, it comes from going through seasons where nothing works, where nothing makes sense, where everything feels slow. That's where readiness is built, right there in the delay. You think you're stuck, but you're not stuck, you're being shaped. You think nothing is happening, but everything is happening, just not in a way you can see. And that's what makes it difficult. We trust what we can see, we believe in movement, we believe in results, we believe in proof. But faith doesn't need to see, faith doesn't need evidence. Faith moves even when nothing around you is moving, and that's what separates people. The ones who quit from the ones who rise, because quitting is easy when nothing is happening. Giving up is easy when results are slow. Walking away is easy when doors don't open, but staying, believing, continuing when everything says stop, that takes something different. That takes faith. And understand this, God is not delaying you to punish you.
I'm not delaying you to punish you.
He's delaying you to prepare you, because where you're going requires a version of you that you have not become yet. And that version is being built right now in the struggle you hate, in the waiting you don't understand, in the silence that frustrates you, every late night, every disappointment. Every time things didn't work out, it's all working on you, building something inside you, something stronger, something deeper, something unshakable. And one day you'll look back at this moment, this exact season, and realize that what felt like a delay was actually protection from things you weren't ready for, protection from paths that would have broken you, protection from success that would have destroyed you. Because not everything that comes fast is meant to stay, and not everything that is delayed is meant to hurt you. Some delays are divine. Some delays are necessary. Some delays are the reason you will succeed later. But you have to trust it, even when you don't understand it. Even when it hurts, even when it feels like nothing is changing, because growth is not always visible. Progress is not always loud, and preparation is almost always invisible. That's why most people quit. They quit because they can't see what's being built. They quit because they don't feel progress. They quit because they mistake silence for absence. But silence does not mean absence. Silence means work is being done. Work, you can't see work, you can't measure work, you can't control, and that's where trust comes in. Trust that every delay has meaning, trusting that every setback has purpose, trusting that every closed door is redirecting you to the right one. Because sometimes the life you want requires you to go through a season you don't want. There is no shortcut around it, no easy way through it, no fast track to poe. Becoming who you're meant to be, you have to go through it, feel it, endure it, grow through it. And I know it's not easy. I know it's exhausting to keep going when nothing is changing, to keep believing, when nothing is happening, to keep showing up when nothing is working. But that's the test. That's the moment that defines everything, because anyone can move forward when things are easy. Anyone can believe when results are visible. Anyone can stay when doors are open. But can you stay when everything is closed? Can you believe when nothing is happening? Can you keep going when it feels like you're going nowhere? That's where greatness is built, not in the spotlight, not in the success, but in the unseen moments, the quiet battles, the lonely nights, the silent prayers that nobody hears, that nobody sees, but God sees. And that's enough, because when the time is right, when you are ready, when everything aligns, what has been delayed will arrive, not partially, not slowly, but completely, and suddenly everything will make sense. Every delay, every struggle, every moment you wanted to quit, it will all connect. And you will realize you were never being held back. You were being held together for the moment that was meant for you. You think the silence means nothing is happening. You think the delay means you've been forgotten. But what if I told you this is where everything begins? Not when the doors open, not when people clap, not when success finally shows up, but right here in the stillness, in the confusion, in the moments where you feel like you're losing, because this part, this uncomfortable, uncertain, unseen part, this is where you are being rebuilt piece by piece, layer by layer. You don't even realize it, but the person you used to be is slowly fading, and the person you are becoming is quietly rising. And that transition, it doesn't feel powerful, it feels painful, it feels slow, it feels like nothing is working, because growth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with noise, it doesn't come with celebration, it comes with pressure, with isolation, with moments that force you to question everything: who you are, what you believe, why you even started. And that's where most people stop. That's where most people walk away, because they mistake discomfort for failure. They mistake delay for denial. They mistake silence for abandonment. But that's not what. This is construction. This is preparation. This is the process you can't skip, no matter how badly you want to, because the truth is, if you got everything you asked for right now, you wouldn't know how to keep it. You wouldn't know how to handle it. You wouldn't know how to carry it. And what don't know how to carry will crush you. That's why this season matters. That's why this waiting matters. That's why this struggle matters. It's not here to break you. It's here to build you stronger than before, wiser than before, more grounded than before. So when the opportunity finally comes, you don't just reach it, you sustain it. You don't just touch success, you grow into it. And that kind of growth, it cannot be rushed. It cannot be forced. It has to be lived, experienced, endured, and understood. That's why you're here in this moment, in this season, feeling like you're in between, not where you used to be, lost where you used to be, but not yet where you want to go. That space, that uncomfortable middle, that's where transformation happens, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in the unknown. And I know the unknown is scary, because you don't have answers, you don't have guarantees, you don't have proof. All you have is a feeling, a belief, a quiet voice inside you that says, keep going, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it hurts, even when everything around you tells you to stop. And that voice, that small, quiet voice, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's faith. Because faith isn't loud. Faith doesn't need validation. Faith doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Faith moves anyway. Faith believes anyway. Faith holds on even when there's nothing to hold on to. And that's what you're being tested on right now. Not your talent, not your ability, not even your potential, but your faith. Can you keep going without seeing results? Can you keep believing without seeing progress? Can you stay committed when everything feels uncertain? Because that's what separates people, not who starts, but who stays, not who dreams, but who endures, not who wants it, but who refuses to walk away from it. And right now, you're being given a choice. Every single day to quit, or to continue to doubt, or to trust, to walk away, or to stay in the process. And I won't lie to you, staying is hard. It's exhausting. It tests every part of you, your patience, your mindset, your strength, even your identity, because there are days when you don't recognize yourself, days when you feel lost, days when you feel disconnected from everything, from everyone, even from your purpose. But those days, they are not signs that you're failing. They are signs that you're changing because you can't become something new without letting go of something old and letting go. Uncomfortable, it feels like loss even when it's necessary, even when it's right, even when it's leading you somewhere better. And that's why it hurts. That's why it feels heavy, because you're not just waiting for something to happen. You're becoming someone new, and becoming requires breaking old habits, breaking old thinking, breaking old versions of yourself that no longer fit where you're going. And that breaking, it doesn't feel good. It feels like everything is falling apart. But sometimes things have to fall apart so they can be rebuilt the right way. Not rushed, not forced, but solid, strong, unshakable. And that kind of foundation, it takes time, it takes pressure. It takes moments where you feel like giving up, but choose not to, moments where you feel weak, but keep showing up, moments where you feel lost, but keep moving forward anyway. Because that's what builds resilience. That's what builds discipline. That's what builds the version of you that can handle what's coming. And what's coming, it's bigger than what you see right now. It's bigger than what you understand. But in order to receive it, you have to become it, and becoming it is happening right now, in the struggle, in the waiting, in the delay. So don't rush this. Don't try to escape it. Don't try to skip ahead, because this part, this exact moment, is shaping everything, even if you can't see it yet, even if you don't feel it yet, even if it doesn't make sense yet. One day it will. One day you'll look back and realize this was the turning point, not the success, not the breakthrough, but this, the moment you decided to keep going when everything inside you wanted to quit. And it doesn't get easier overnight. That's the truth people don't like to hear. There is no sudden moment where everything just clicks, no instant relief where all the weight disappears, because growth, real growth, is not a moment. It's a process, a long, stretching, sometimes painful process where every day you are asked the same question again and again and again. Will you continue, or will you quit? And most people, they don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they get tired of waiting, tired of trying, tired of hoping, tired of believing in something that they cannot yet see. And that exhaustion, it's dangerous because it slowly changes your mindset. It whispers things to you quietly, convincingly. And maybe this isn't for you. Or maybe you're not good enough. Or maybe it's too late. Or maybe you should just stop it. And the more you listen, the louder it gets, until one day it doesn't sound like doubt anymore. It sounds like truth, but it's not. It's fear, it's frustration, it's the weight of the why, of the process trying to break your consistency, trying to pull you away from the very thing that is building you. Because understand this, the closer you get, the harder it feels. The more resistance you face, the heavier everything becomes, not because you're going the wrong way, but because you're getting lines closer, closer to the breakthrough, closer to the shift, closer to the moment that changes everything. But that moment, it tests you first. It doesn't just arrive, it asks you, are you ready? Not in words, but in pressure, in delays, in obstacles, in silence. Because readiness is not proven when things are easy. It's proven when things are uncertain, when nothing is guaranteed, when everything feels unstable, and you still choose to move forward. That's readiness. That's strength. That's what separates temporary effort from permanent transformation. Because temporary effort, it fades when things get hard. It disappears when results are slow, but transformation, it stays, it adapts, it grows stronger under pressure. And that's what you're building right now. Not just results, not just success, but transformation, a version of you that doesn't break under pressure, a version of you that doesn't run from discomfort. Choose a version of you that doesn't need constant validation to keep going, because validation, it's unreliable. Sometimes people will support you. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll believe in you. Sometimes they'll doubt you. And if your motivation depends on their reaction, you will never stay consistent. You will never last, because people change, opinions change, situations change, but your purpose, your direction, your calling, that has to stay steady, no matter what's happening around you. And that's not easy, especially when you feel alone, especially when it feels like nobody understands what you're going through, because from the outside it looks like nothing, but inside it feels like everything. Every thought, every doubt, every silent battle, every moment where you question if this is even worth it. And that's the part nobody talks about, the internal war. The constant back and forth between belief and doubt, between hope and fear, between continuing and giving up. And some days it feels like doubt is winning. Some days it feels like fear is louder. Some days it feels like you're losing, but you're not, because showing up even when you feel like that is winning. Continuing even when your mind is against you, that is strength, because strength is not always loud. It's not always confident. It's not always fearless. Sometimes strength is quiet. Sometimes it's tired, sometimes it's uncertain, but it keeps going anyway. And that, anyway, that's everything. That's what builds momentum. That's what builds discipline. That's what turns small actions into big results over time. Because success, it's not built in one moment, it's built in repetition, in consistency, in doing the same thing over and over again, even when it feels like it's not working. And that's the pano working. And that's the hardest part, doing the work without immediate reward, putting in effort without instant results, believing without proof. Because we live in a world that wants everything fast, quick results, quick success, quick validation. But real growth doesn't follow that timeline. It follows a different rhythm, a different rhythm. A slower, deeper, more intentional rhythm where things take time, where progress is invisible, where results come later not because they're delayed, but because they're being built properly, and properly takes patience. It takes trust. It takes the ability to stay committed, even when nothing is confirmed that you're on the right path. And that's where most people struggle. They need confirmation. They need signs. They need something to show them that it's working. But what if the only sign you get is the fact that you're still here, still trying, still showing up, still refusing to quit? Maybe that's the pakua sign. Maybe that's the proof, because quitting, it removes all possibility. It ends the process. It guarantees that nothing will change, but continuing, even slowly, even imperfectly, it keeps the door open. It keeps the chance alive. And sometimes that's all you need. Not certainty, not guarantees, just a chance, a possibility, a reason to keep going. And you already have that right now in this moment, because you're still here, still reading, still searching, still trying to understand, still trying to push forward. And that matters more than you realize, because every moment you choose not to quit, you are reinforcing something inside you, something powerful, something that cannot be easily broken. Resilience. And resilience, it's not built in comfort. It's built in struggle and repetition, in getting up after falling down again and again and again, until getting up becomes your default, not your exception. And tsuitsui. Once that happens, once you reach that point where quitting is no longer your first thought, everything changes. Because now you're not just chasing something, you're becoming someone who finishes, someone who endures, someone who doesn't stop just because it's hard. And that identity, that shift, that's more valuable than any result, because results can be lost, but who you become, that stays, that follows you into every opportunity, every challenge, every new level. And that's why this phase matters more than you think, because it's not just about where you're going, it's about who you are becoming on the way. And right now you are becoming stronger. Even if you don't feel it, you are becoming more patient. Even if you're frustrated, you are becoming more disciplined. Even if you're tired, because growth is not based on how you feel. It's based on what you continue to do despite how you feel. And you've been continuing even when it's hard, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it feels like nothing is changing. And that consistency, that quiet persistence, it's building something real, something lasting, something that will eventually show, not instantly, not suddenly, but inevitably, because effort compounds, consistency compounds, patience compounds, and one day all of it, all the time, all the struggle, all the waiting, it adds up. And when it does, it won't just change your situation, it will change you will. Completely from the inside out. And that's when you'll understand why it took so long, why it had to be this way. Why the delay was never the problem. It was the preparation for the person you were always meant to become. And even then, even when you start to understand, even when things slowly begin to make sense, there will still be moments where you feel like you're slipping, moments where the doubt returns, moments where the weight feels just as heavy as before. Because growth is not a straight line. It's not a clean path. It's not a simple journey from struggle to success. It's a cycle of learning, of writing, unlearning, of rising, of falling, of breaking and rebuilding again and again and again and again. In that repetition, it can feel exhausting, like you're going in circles, like you're not really moving forward, like you're stuck in the same place, facing the same battles, feeling the same emotions, as if nothing has changed. But look closer, look deeper. You are not the same person who first entered this season. You've seen things, you've felt things, you've endured things that version of you couldn't have handled. And the fact that you're still here, still standing, still pushing forward, that's proof of growth, even if it's proof of growth. Even it doesn't feel like progress, because progress is not always about moving ahead. Sometimes it's about not going back, not returning to old habits, not falling into old patterns, not becoming the person you used to be. And that alone, that quiet resistance, that silent discipline, that unseen strength, that is progress, that is evolution, that is transformation happening right beneath the surface. And most people miss it because they're only looking for visible change. They're only measuring success by what they can show, what they can prove, what others can see. But the most important changes they have internally in your mindset, in your perspective, in the way you respond to pressure, to pain, to uncertainty, because there was a time when one setback would have broken you. There was a time when one delay would have made you quit. There was a time when one closed door would have convinced you that it was over, but now you're still here, still moving, still believing, even if it's quietly, even if it's imperfectly, even if it's one small step at a time. And that matters more than any loud success, more than any quick win. Because quick wins, they don't change you, they excite you, they motivate you, but don't transform you. Transformation comes from endurance, from staying through the hard parts, from facing the parts of yourself you used to avoid, from continuing even when it would be easier to stop. And you've been doing that more than you give yourself credit for. You've been showing up in ways nobody swans. Nobody sees, fighting battles nobody knows about, carrying weight that nobody understands, and still choosing to move forward, even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain. And that kind of persistence, it's rare, because most people, they only continue when it's easy, when it's clear, or when it's slow, when it's rewarding. But you're continuing even when it's confusing, even when it's frustrating, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere. And that's what sets you apart. It's what builds something different inside you, something deeper than motivation, something stronger than temporary excitement. It builds discipline, and discipline, it doesn't depend on how you feel. It doesn't depend on your mood. It doesn't depend on your circumstances. It shows up no matter what. And once discipline becomes part of you, everything changes. Because now you're not relying on motivation. You're not waiting to feel ready. You're not looking for the perfect moment. You move anyway. You act anyway, you continue anyway, and that anyway, it's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Because waiting for perfect conditions, waiting to feel ready, waiting for everything to align, that waiting, it keeps people stuck forever. But moving even when things are unclear, even when things are imperfect, that creates momentum, that builds confidence, that opens doors you couldn't see before. Because clarity, it doesn't come before action, it comes through woo. Action through experience, through trial and error, through stepping forward without knowing exactly what's ahead. And yes, that's uncomfortable. Yes, that requires courage, but staying where you are, that has a cost too. A silent cost, slow cost, a cost that builds over time, regret. Because one day you don't just regret the things that went wrong. You regret the things you never tried, the chances you didn't take, the moments you walked away because you were afraid, because you doubted yourself, because you thought it wasn't the right time. And that regret, it lasts longer than failure ever will. Because failure, it teaches, it strengthens, it builds experience, but regret, it lingers. It reminds you of what could have been, of what might have happened if you had just taken one more step, if you had just held on a little longer, if you had just believed a little more. And that's why this moment matters, right? Now, because you are still in the process, still in the journey, still in the place where things can change, where things can shift, where everything you're working toward is still possible. But it requires one thing: consistency, not perfection, not speed, not immediate success, just consistency, showing again and again and again, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels repetitive, because repetition is where mastery is built. It's where confidence is formed. It's where results begin to grow slowly, quietly, but surely. And at first, you won't notice it. At first, it will feel like nothing is happening, like all your effort is going nowhere. But beneath the surface, things are changing, skills are improving, mindset is shifting, strength is building. And one day, that invisible progress becomes visible, that silent growth becomes undeniable, that consistent effort turns into real results. And people will look at you and say it happened suddenly. They'll say you got lucky. They'll say it came out of nowhere. But you'll know, you'll remember every moment, every struggle, every time you wanted to quit, but didn't, every time you felt like stopping, but kept going. And you'll understand it wasn't sudden. It was built slowly, patiently, deliberately, over time, in the moments nobody saw, in the days nobody celebrated, in the effort nobody recognized. And that's what makes it real. That's what makes it lasting, because it wasn't given to you. It was built by you through consistency, through will beat you, through consistency, through discipline, through endurance, and most importantly, through faith. Faith that even when you couldn't see it, something was happening. Even when you couldn't feel it, something was changing. Even when everything looked the same, nothing was the same, because you were evolving, growing, becoming day by day, step by step, moment by moment. And that becoming, it never stops. It continues beyond this season, beyond this struggle, beyond this delay, because every level brings a new challenge. Every growth brings a new test. Every success requires a new version of you. And now you're ready for that. Not because everything is perfect, not because you have all the answers, but because you've learned how to continue even without them, how to trust even without certainty, how to move forward, even without guarantees, and that is real strength, that is real growth. When things get hard again because life doesn't stop testing you. It just tests you differently at different levels, in different ways. But the foundation, the strength you're building now that stays with you, that supports you, that carries you forward, no matter what comes next. And that's why. You cannot see this time as wasted. You cannot see this delay as meaningless because it's doing something far greater than you realize. It's shaping you into someone who doesn't just succeed, but someone who sustains success, who handles pressure, who stays grounded, who continues growing even after adversity. Reaching their goals, and that's rare. That's what separates temporary success from lasting success, because temporary success, it fades, it disappears when things get difficult. But lasting success, it adapts, it evolves, it survives because it's built on something deeper, something stronger, something real. And that's what you're building right now in this moment, in this phase, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't look like it, even if nobody else sees it. It's happening quietly, steadily, powerfully inside you, and one day it will show not just in what you achieve, but in how you carry yourself, in how you respond, in how you handle challenges, and how you continue no matter what. And people will notice, they'll see the difference. They'll see the strength, they'll see the calm, the confidence, the resilience, and they'll wonder how you became that person, how you reached that level, how you built that mindset. And you'll know it wasn't one moment, it wasn't one opportunity, it wasn't one lucky break. It was this phase, this delay, this process where everything felt slow, where everything felt uncertain, where everything felt like nothing but was actually everything, because this is where you were built, this is where you were shaped. This is where you became who you were always meant to be. So don't rush it. Don't fight it. Don't try to escape it, because this exact part, it's necessary, it's valuable, it's powerful, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's hard, because hard does not mean wrong. Slow does not mean failure, and silence does not mean nothing is happening. It means something deeper is happening, something you cannot yet see, but will one day understand. And when that day comes, when everything aligns, when everything connects, you won't just be grateful for the success. You'll be grateful for the delay, for the struggle, for the process, because without it, you wouldn't be who you are. And who you are, that's the real victory. That's the real success. That's the real transformation that makes everything else possible. So keep going, keep trusting, keep building, because this journey, this process, this delay, it's not taking you away from your destination. It's taking you directly toward it. And when it finally happens, when everything you've been waiting for begins to unfold, it won't feel the way you imagined. It won't be loud. It won't be loud. It won't be overwhelming. It won't suddenly erase every memory of struggle. Instead, it will feel calm, steady, almost quiet, because by the time it arrives, you are no longer desperate for it. You are ready for it. There's a difference, a powerful difference. Desperation reaches, but readiness receives. Desperation rushes, but readiness understands timing. Desperation fears losing, but readiness knows how to sustain. And that's who you've become. Not someone chasing endlessly, but someone prepared intentionally. Not someone begging for opportunities, but someone capable of carrying them. When that moment comes, you won't have to force anything, you won't have to prove anything, you won't have to convince anyone, because what is meant for you will recognize you at the level you've grown into, at the strength you've built, at the patience you've developed. And everything will begin to align, not magically, but meaningfully, piece by piece, step by step, in a way that finally makes sense. Doors will open. But this time you won't rush through them. You'll walk through them with awareness, with gratitude, with control, because you know what it took to get here. You said it took to get here. Know the nights, the silent battles, the moments you almost gave up but didn't. And that memory, it grounds you. It keeps you humble. It reminds you that this didn't happen overnight. It was built through time, through patience, through endurance, through faith. And that awareness, it protects you from becoming careless, from becoming arrogant, from forgetting what this journey taught you, because forgetting, that's where people fall. That's where people lose what they worked so hard to gain. They forget the process. They forget the struggle. They forget the discipline that brought them here. But you won't, because this journey, it changed you, it shaped you, it left something inside you that cannot be removed, a deep understanding that nothing valuable comes without effort, without patience, without growth, and that understanding, it becomes your foundation moving forward, because success is not the end, it's a new beginning a new level with new responsibilities, new challenges, new expectations. And now you're ready for that, not perfectly, but fully prepared in the ways that matter. You know how to wait, you know how to endure, you know how to continue, even when things are uncertain. And that knowledge, experience, it gives you an advantage that cannot be taught quickly, that cannot be given instantly. It had to be lived. And you lived it through every delay, through every struggle, through every moment where you questioned everything but kept going anyway. And that anyway, it becomes your identity, not just something you did, but something you are, someone who continues no matter what, someone who adapts no matter what, someone who grows no matter what. And that identity, it carries you forward through every new challenge, through every new level, through every new phase of life, because life will continue to test you, to stretch you, to push you, but now you don't fear that, you welcome it, because you understand that every challenge carries growth, every difficulty carries opportunity, every delay carries purpose. And that mindset, it changes everything. It turns obstacles into lessons. It turns setbacks into redirection. It turns waiting into preparation. And once you see life that way, nothing feels wasted anymore. Nothing feels meaningless. Everything becomes part of the journey. Everything becomes part of the process, leading you forward, shaping you further, strengthening you deeper. And as you move forward, you'll start to notice something, a quiet confidence, not loud, not arrogant, but steady, unshakable. A confidence that doesn't come from what you have, but from who you are, from what you've been through, from what you've overcome, from what you've built within yourself. And that confidence, it doesn't need validation, it doesn't need approval, it doesn't need constant success to exist. It stands on its own because it's rooted in experience and resilience and truth. And that's what makes it powerful, because external things, they can be taken away, opportunities can change, situations can shift, but who you are, what you've built inside, that stays, that remains, that continues to guide you no matter what happens. And that's the real reward, not just the success, not just the achievement, but the person you've become through the process, through the delay, through the struggle, because that person, that version of you, is capable of so much more than you ever realized, more than you ever believed at the beginning of this journey. And now you see it. Now you feel it. Now you understand why things didn't happen earlier, why doors stayed closed, why paths didn't work out, because you weren't ready then. But you are now, and that readiness, it changes everything, because now when opportunity comes, you don't hesitate. When challenges come, you don't collapse. When uncertainty comes, you don't panic. You respond with clarity, with patience, with strength, because you've been here before in a different form, in a different phase. But the lesson, the core of it, it's the same. Trust the process, stay consistent, keep moving forward. And that's what you'll continue to do, not just now, but always, because this isn't the end. It's a continuation, a new chapter built on everything you've learned, everything you've endured, everything you've become. And as you step into it, remember this: never rush your growth, never ignore your foundation, never forget your journey, because that's what keeps you grounded. That's what keeps you strong. That's what keeps you moving forward with purpose, with intention, with clarity. And if there ever comes a moment where things feel slow again, where things feel uncertain, again, where delays return, remember who you are. Remember what you've been through. Remember what you've already overcome, because you've done it before and you can do it again, stronger, wiser, more prepared every single time. And one day, even further down the road, you'll look back again at this entire journey, not just this moment, but everything, the beginning, the middle, the struggle, the delay, the growth, and you'll realize something simple but powerful. Nothing was wasted, not a single moment, not a single setback, not a single delay. Everything had a place. Everything had a place. Everything contributed to who you became, and who you became was always the goal, more than anything else, more than success, more than achievement, more than recognition. Because when you become the right person, everything else follows naturally, rightfully, sustainably. And that's the truth that changes everything. So walk forward now, not with fear, not with doubt, but with quiet certainty that you are ready, that you are capable, that you are prepared for whatever comes next. Because you didn't just survive the process, you were shaped by it, refined by it, strengthened by it, and now you carry it within you. Every lesson, every scar, every piece of growth, and it all leads you here to this moment where you no longer question if you'll make it. You know you will, because you already have, in the ways that matter most, and that is your power, that is your victory, that is your beginning. So keep going, keep building, keep becoming, because your journey is far from over. It's only just begun.